How did a back-flipping, hat-trick hitting, goal-scoring teenage phenom from Australia take a fledgling US Pro Women's Soccer League by storm, leaving a legacy that few players have even come close to matching? Even in the 6 years that she's been gone? You can't talk about the first 7 years of the NWSL without talking about Sam Kerr, striker extraordinaire that became a living NWSL legend alongside peers who had won World Cups and Olympic gold medals. And for a player that hasn't hit the field for the NWSL in over 6 years, Kerr still feels like a specter of excellence that never quite left. She became one of the NWSL's first true homegrown superstars, rising from teenage prodigy to true team leader, providing a launching pad to her next chapter as an icon of the game in Europe. She's also one of the highest profile examples of the NWSL's limitations, a superstar that they couldn't keep, as the league's salary mechanisms and minimum standards could not grow alongside the notoriety of its talent. But with every year that passes, Kerr's past NWSL dominance feels both ahead of its time and reminiscent of an era that the NWSL is probably never going to quite return back to. She left the NWSL in 2019, before the 2020 Challenge Cup and reforms in 2021 that changed the league forever, before team valuations soared and expansion clubs made history. Kerr left before the NWSL even had any clubs in California, and before additional competitions were added that allowed Seattle forward Lynn Biondolo to overtake her as the league's all-time leading scorer for all competitions. Because of that, despite her outsized impact, Kerr's NWSL story still feels a little unwritten. Even with all of her personal accolades, she never won a US League championship. And in a changed world of global women's football, is there a chance that she ever returns to try to close the book on her NWSL career?
And it's in! Samantha Kerr's hard work pays off!
A goal for the Flash in the 85th minute, and it's Sam Kerr.
Sam Kerr tries to go around Francis, he puts it in! Spectacular from Sam Kerr!
Sam Kerr scores her first for the Red Stars!
This time, it's Samantha Kerr who would not quit.
A titan of the league's early years, Kerr is still the NWSL's leading regular season scorer with 77 goals. Scored over time with the Western New York Flash, Sky Blue FC, and the Chicago Red Stars. She won the Golden Boot 3 years in a row from 2017 to 2019, and still held the NWSL single-season scoring record until Temwa Chawinga broke it in 2024. Kerr won NWSL MVP 2 times, the first player to ever do so, first with Sky Blue in 2017 and Chicago in 2019, and she is still the only player in league history to have won NWSL MVP with 2 different clubs. And despite going on to do even bigger and better things at Chelsea, Kerr's legacy in the US is one of a young star rising to prominence along the side of a young league. Already a wonderkind in her home country of Australia after going pro at the age of 15, Kerr made the leap to the NWSL in its first season in 2013 at just the age of 19, signing with the Western New York Flash, joining up with a squad anchored by US Women's National Team stars like Carly Lloyd and Abby Wambach. Kerr and Lloyd in particular hit it off, with Lloyd once joking, "Sometimes people need to think in order to get better. Sam plays great and does unbelievable stuff when she doesn't think 1%. Kerr scored 15 goals in 2 years with the Flash, making it to the inaugural NWSL championship game in 2013, but also still clearly growing into her skill set as she learned what it meant to be a professional footballer in a different country at a very young age. And she didn't stay upstate long. After 2 years with the Flash, Kerr was traded to Sky Blue FC on NWSL draft day in 2015, in a deal that included that year's 4th overall pick, which ironically was used on Sam Mewis, who Kerr would go on to play twice in the NWSL postseason. Now, Kerr's first few years in New Jersey came with injury troubles as she tried to bolster an underperforming Sky Blue side that had become synonymous with being an unserious club. Players on that team rented a house together on the Jersey Shore, They fostered animals. They embraced a college-like lifestyle that had previously been unknown to Kerr in the US, but they also didn't win a lot of soccer games. Despite that, in 2017, the 23-year-old took a huge step forward as a player, and she never looked back. Fully focused on club play in a year without a major tournament, Kerr's attacking activity exploded, suddenly taking on back lines with the consistency of a double-digit goal scorer. She would never dip below 10 goals in an NWSL season ever again. She broke the single-season scoring record for the first time in 2017, also taking home her first NWSL MVP award for a Sky Blue team that nonetheless did not make the playoffs that year. So Kerr decided to keep evolving, taking part in a massive 3-team trade in 2018 that sent the striker to Chicago. That move actually also sent Kristen Press to Houston, where she actually never ended up playing, and sent former teammate Carly Lloyd to Sky Blue. And if Kerr could compete while carrying a team like she did in New Jersey, she flourished on a roster of one of the NWSL's old-fashioned super teams, in an era before the league's aggressive expansion and free player movement, when the league's small size, roster mechanisms, and lopsided resources saw the top teams absolutely packed with talent. The Red Stars team that Kerr jumped into in 2018 came with a wealth of football legacy. That team was captained by U.S. Women's National Team legend Julie Ertz and could claim other legends of the game, like U.S. Women's National Team goalkeeper Alyssa Nair, two-time World Cup champion Morgan Gautrat, and World Cup champion Yuki Nagasato. That team was also bolstered by highly respected league talent, like midfielders Vanessa DiBernardo and Dani Colaprico, defenders Casey Kruger and Sarah Gordon. The list goes on. Kerr scored 16 goals for Chicago in 2018, leaving a partnership with DiBernardo and Nagasato in particular that other teams simply could not stop. And as a striker in the hyper-physical era of the NWSL, Kerr's balanced athletic approach was her calling card. She's as lethal with her head as she is with her feet. Rising above defenders like a basketball star would create hang time to go for a poster dunk, and trying shots on target at angles with such an unpredictability that it was impossible to contain. Her patented backflip celebration painted a player in flight, with no signs of her coming back down to earth. But part of that Red Stars legacy at the time was hitting a wall in the postseason. And in 2018, they did so again, in the form of Mewis and the North Carolina Courage in the 2018 NWSL semifinals. So Kerr upped the ante the following year. Now armed with eventual World Cup champion and Olympic gold medalist Tierna Davidson, the Red Stars blew through the regular season for their best record ever. Kerr broke her own single-season scoring record with 18 goals in 2019, as well as the breakthrough tally in the semifinal round that sent Chicago to their first ever NWSL championship. There, Kerr and the Red Stars hit a wall again, this time for good. And Kerr's final moments in the NWSL did not come in triumph. The 2019 NWSL Championship was a disaster for Chicago, losing to the Courage 4-0, creating a lasting image of on-field discord between Kerr and her Red Stars teammates more than celebration. And to add insult to injury, throughout the entire NWSL postseason, rumors abounded about UK side Chelsea courting Kerr with a major WSL contract, one the Red Stars could never match under the NWSL's current salary structure at that time. So after a disappointing final game, at the peak of her individual NWSL career, Kerr left the US League behind at just the age of 26. Of course, the NWSL quickly scrambled to try to retain her, now that her superstar prowess was garnering high-level offers from Europe. They implemented a short-lived allocation money concept that allowed teams to make offers for certain players outside the salary cap, not unlike the high-impact player rule that we see today. But even if Chicago could have matched Chelsea's almost $1 million offer, far beyond the NWSL's maximum contract standard at the time of just over $46,000, Kerr was always likely to make the leap, leaving the Red Stars asking their own questions about professional standards as the NWSL reckoned with its shortcomings, with front office scandals and player-led reform eventually sweeping the league and codified by its first CBA in 2022. And as we know, Kerr's story continued. She is now Chelsea's all-time leading WSL scorer, completing the feat after her return from an ACL injury that she suffered in 2024. But now again, there's potential for another move for the now 32-year-old, who is out of contract for a changing Blues side that has seen significant roster reconstruction under new manager Sonia Bonpastor. And the NWSL has also seen an overhaul since Kerr's time there, incorporating new salary mechanisms to draw in big-name players, raising standards across the league with the continuation of the 2024 CBA, while addressing previous issues of corruption and scandal, and rapidly expanding coast to coast, from San Diego to San Francisco to Denver, and, perhaps coincidentally, Kerr's wife Christy Mewis's hometown of Boston. Should Kerr be interested in an NWSL return, now would be the time. With all her old clubs either under new management or having moved entirely, she'd have a chance for a fresh start. This time, perhaps, with her family in tow. But even if Kerr's impact in the NWSL remains relegated to those early 7 years of the league's start, she's created a legacy that both pushed the sport forward and harkened back to a bygone era, as perhaps the NWSL's first non-US women's national team superstar. Built by the league as much as she brought her talent to it, no one scored goals quite like her, and perhaps no one ever will again.
Sam Kerr gets it to her feet. She takes the shot and got the corner.
And it sneaks in. It's a goal for Sam Kerr.
Kerr is there and she scores again!
If you liked that video and want to see more, like and subscribe to Just Women's Sports on YouTube.